The massive crystal dome of the Galactic Council chambers stretched high above the assembled delegates, its walls shimmering with reflected light from 1,000 different worlds. Ambassador Zethkar of the Vorthan Empire stood at the central podium, his towering reptilian form casting long shadows across the polished floor. His iridescent scales caught the light as he turned to address the crowd, and when he spoke, his voice carried the weight of authority that came from representing one of the galaxy's most powerful civilizations. "Fellow council members," Zethkar began, his words echoing through the vast space, "we gather today to discuss a matter of the utmost triviality." A ripple of laughter passed through the assembled aliens as they settled into their designated areas, each species grouped according to their technological advancement and political influence. The hegemony representatives occupied the prime seating near the podium, their insectoid forms clicking and chittering in amusement, while the crystalline beings of the Nexus Collective hummed in harmonic frequencies that translated as barely contained mirth. Admiral Corvin of the Hegemony Fleet rose from his position among the military advisors, his 6 arms moving in precise coordination as he activated the holographic display systems. The insectoid warrior's compound eyes reflected the data streams as they materialized in the air above the assembly, showing star charts, ship movements, and intelligence reports that had been gathered over the past several months. "The species in question," Corvin announced, his mechanical translator giving his words a cold, emotionless quality, "originates from a small blue world in the Outer Rim territories, designation Sol 3, locally known as Earth." The hologram shifted to show the human solar system, with Earth appearing as an insignificant dot among the cosmic vastness. These creatures who call themselves humans have recently begun what they consider to be space exploration. More laughter erupted from the assembled delegates as images of human spacecraft appeared in the display. The vessels looked primitive and clunky compared to the sleek designs favored by the advanced civilizations of the Council. Their propulsion systems relied on chemical rockets and early fusion drives, technologies that the galaxy's major powers had abandoned millennia ago, in favor of more efficient quantum drives and dimensional fold engines. In the section reserved for newly contacted species and primitive civilizations, 3 humans sat in uncomfortable silence as the mockery washed over them. Captain Jake Morrison maintained his composure despite the dismissive attitudes surrounding him, his military training helping him keep his expression neutral even as alien beings pointed at his delegation and made sounds that his universal translator interpreted as derisive comments about human appearance and intelligence. Dr. Lisa Grant sat beside Morrison, her scientific mind working furiously to catalog and analyze everything she observed about the alien species around them. Her training as Earth's chief xenobiologist had prepared her for this moment, but nothing could have readied her for the sheer scale of the diversity she was witnessing. Crystalline beings that communicated through light patterns, gaseous entities contained within environmental suits, and dozens of other forms of life that challenged every assumption humanity had made about biological possibilities. Colonel Ryan Hayes completed the human delegation, his experienced eyes constantly scanning the chamber's layout, exits, and potential threats. The military officer had seen combat in Earth's various conflicts, but this was a different kind of battlefield entirely. Here, the weapons were words and political maneuvering, and humanity was clearly outmatched in terms of raw power and influence. Admiral Corvin continued his presentation, highlighting humanity's recent expansion beyond their home planet. "These humans have established crude settlements on 2 badas within their own solar system," he reported, gesturing to images of the Mars colonies and Europa research stations. "Their most advanced vessels have been detected in neighboring star systems, apparently conducting what they term exploration missions." The holographic display showed grainy sensor readings of human ships moving through space at speeds that the assembled aliens considered laughably slow. A hegemony destroyer could cross the same distance in a fraction of the time, while a Vorthan battlecruiser could simply fold space and arrive instantaneously at any point within a dozen light-years. Chancellor Vexthal, the ancient leader of the Galactic Council, observed the proceedings from his elevated position at the head of the chamber. The being was old beyond human comprehension, having guided the council through countless disputes and expansion phases over the centuries. His species had transcended physical form eons ago, existing as pure energy contained within a specialized housing unit that allowed him to interact with the material world. "The matter before us," Vexthal intoned, his voice resonating through both audible frequencies and telepathic channels, "is whether these humans represent any form of threat to established galactic order." The question itself seemed absurd to most of the assembled delegates, who viewed humanity as barely more advanced than the primitive species they occasionally encountered on worlds that had yet to develop even basic spaceflight. Captain Morrison rose from his seat and requested permission to address the council. The action itself was unusual, as species classified as primitive were rarely granted speaking privileges during formal sessions. However, Chancellor Vexthal gestured for him to proceed, perhaps out of curiosity about what the human might say in his own defense. "Honored members of the Galactic Council," Morrison began, his voice steady despite the magnitude of the moment, "humanity comes before you not as conquerors or threats, but as a species seeking peaceful coexistence and mutual benefit through trade and cultural exchange." His words were translated into dozens of different languages and communication methods, but the response was immediate and unanimous laughter. Ambassador Zethkar's scales shifted color in what Dr. Grant recognized as a display of amusement. "The human speaks of trade," the reptilian diplomat said, his voice carrying across the chamber. "But what could such a primitive species possibly offer to civilizations that have mastered the fundamental forces of the universe?" The question sparked a new wave of discussion among the delegates, with various species offering their own assessments of human capabilities. The Nexus Collective's harmonic tomes suggested that humanity might serve as an interesting subject for behavioral studies, while the hegemony representatives focused on the potential military applications of having another species to conscript for their expansion campaigns. Dr. Grant stood and attempted to present humanity's scientific achievements, describing their advances in medicine, agriculture, and theoretical physics. She explained how human scientists had developed unique approaches to problems that had challenged other species, and how their diverse perspectives might contribute to the galaxy's collective knowledge. However, her presentation was met with patronizing nods and dismissive gestures that made it clear the aliens viewed human science as quaint but ultimately irrelevant. Colonel Hayes remained seated, but his enhanced audio equipment was recording every word spoken in the chamber, while hidden sensors in his uniform were analyzing the technological signatures of the various alien devices around them. The data he was gathering would prove invaluable for Earth's defense preparations, though none of the aliens suspected that the primitive humans possessed such sophisticated intelligence-gathering capabilities. As the session continued, it became increasingly clear that the Galactic Council had already reached its decision before the humans had even arrived. Chancellor Vexthal announced that Earth would be classified as a Category 3 primitive civilization, subject to the standard protocols for managing underdeveloped species. The classification meant that humanity would be permitted to exist within their own solar system but would be forbidden from expanding beyond those boundaries without explicit council permission. Furthermore, the Chancellor continued, all human colonies and outposts beyond the planet Earth must be abandoned within 30 standard galactic days. Any vessels found operating outside the Sol system after this deadline will be considered in violation of galactic law and will be dealt with accordingly. The ultimatum sent shockwaves through the human delegation, but Captain Morrison maintained his composure as he responded to the Council's decision. With respect, Chancellor, humanity cannot and will not abandon our colonies. These settlements represent the hopes and dreams of thousands of our people who have sacrificed everything to build new lives among the stars. The chamber erupted in laughter once again, with many delegates commenting on the audacity of the primitive species that dared to defy the will of the Galactic Council. Admiral Corvin's compound eyes focused on Morrison with what could only be described as predatory interest, while Ambassador Sethkar's scales shifted to darker hues that Dr. Grant's xenobiology training told her indicated aggressive intent. Very well, Chancellor Vexthal announced with finality, the Council has spoken. Humanity has 30 days to comply with our directives. Failure to do so will result in corrective action to ensure galactic stability and order. As the session concluded, and the delegates began to file out of the chamber, the transport ship carrying the human delegation broke through Earth's atmosphere just as the sun was setting over the Swiss Alps. Captain Jake Morrison looked down at his home planet through the small porthole, knowing that everything he loved was now under threat from forces beyond their solar system. The 30-day countdown had begun the moment Chancellor Vexthal delivered his ultimatum, and every second that passed brought humanity closer to a confrontation they seemed destined to lose. Dr. Lisa Grant gathered her recordings and data files. As the ship descended toward Geneva, her mind already racing with the implications of what she had observed in the Galactic Council chambers. The alien species she had encountered possessed technology that seemed to violate the basic laws of physics as humanity understood them. Yet her scientific training told her that every technology had weaknesses and limitations that could be exploited by those clever enough to find them. Colonel Ryan Hayes remained focused on his own mission parameters as the ship touched down at the secure facility outside the city. His hidden sensors had gathered massive amounts of data about alien technology and capabilities, information that would prove crucial in the coming weeks. The aliens had been so confident in their superiority that they had made no effort to shield their technology from analysis, assuming that primitive humans could not possibly understand what they were seeing within hours of their return. The human delegation found themselves in the underground command center that served as headquarters for the Global Defense Council. President Maria Santos had called an emergency session that brought together world leaders through secure, holographic connections, creating a virtual meeting space where the planet's most powerful individuals could coordinate humanity's response to the alien threat. General Sam Parker stood at the main tactical display, his weathered face reflecting the gravity of their situation as he reviewed the intelligence reports that had been flooding in from deep space monitoring stations. The gruff military commander had spent his entire career preparing for conflicts between human nations, but nothing in his experience had prepared him for the possibility of an interstellar war against technologically superior opponents. The alien Armada is already beginning to assemble, Parker reported to the assembled leaders, gesturing toward sensor readings that showed massive energy signatures gathering in the Proxima Centauri system. Our deep space arrays are detecting ship movements from at least a dozen different star systems, all converging on staging areas just outside our solar system's outer edge. Dr. Alex Chen stepped forward from his position near the classified research terminals, his usually calm demeanor showing signs of stress as he prepared to brief the world leaders on humanity's actual defensive capabilities. The director of the Advanced Research Division had been working in secret for years on projects that most of the world's population never suspected existed, programs that had been funded through black budgets and hidden research facilities scattered across the globe. What I'm about to tell you, Chun began, his voice carrying the weight of classified information that could change the course of human history, must never leave this room without proper authorization. For the past 50 years, humanity has been reverse engineering technology recovered from alien crashes and encounters that the public never learned about. The revelation sent shockwaves through the assembled leaders, many of whom had held the highest security clearances in their respective nations without ever being briefed on the existence of alien contact. President Santos leaned forward in her chair, her expression shifting from concern to intense interest as she realized that humanity might not be as defenseless as the Galactic Council believed. Admiral Kate Sullivan joined the briefing through a secure connection from the Luna Command Station, her image appearing in the holographic display as she reported on the status of Earth's hidden space fleet. The veteran naval officer had transitioned from commanding ocean-going vessels to spaceships when the secret space program had expanded beyond the capacity of traditional military branches to manage effectively. The Mars shipyards have been operating under cover of mining operations for the past 15 years, Sullivan reported, her voice clear despite the communication delay from her position near the moon. "We currently have 47 combat vessels of various classes ready for deployment, with another 23 nearing completion over the next few weeks." The number seemed impossibly small compared to the alien fleet that was assembling to invade their solar system. But Dr. Chun quickly explained that humanity's ships incorporated technologies that the Galactic Council had never encountered before. Human scientists had approached the problem of space combat from entirely different angles than their alien counterparts, developing weapons and defensive systems based on principles that most galactic civilizations had dismissed as impractical or impossible. Commander Beth Rogers materialized in the holographic display from her position aboard the Mars orbital platform, her engineering background making her invaluable in coordinating the technical aspects of humanity's defense preparations. The young officer had spent years working on the secret projects that had produced Earth's hidden fleet, and her expertise in quantum physics had contributed to several breakthrough technologies that would soon shock the galaxy. "The evacuation of non-essential personnel from our outer system colonies is proceeding on schedule," Rogers reported, though her tone indicated that the process was more complex than simple evacuation. "We are maintaining skeleton crews on all installations to preserve the appearance of normal operations while secretly converting civilian facilities into defensive positions." Dr. Grant found herself assigned to analyze the biological and technological weaknesses she had observed during the council meeting, working with teams of scientists who had been studying alien physiology and technology for decades. Her first-hand observations of the various species provided crucial insights into their psychological profiles and tactical preferences, information that could prove decisive in the coming conflict. The aliens' greatest weakness appeared to be their overconfidence and rigid adherence to established tactical doctrines. Species that had dominated the galaxy for millennia had grown complacent in their superiority, assuming that any primitive civilization they encountered would follow predictable patterns of behavior and employ conventional weapons that their advanced defenses could easily counter. Captain Morrison was assigned to work directly with Admiral Sullivan in coordinating the deployment of Earth's secret fleet, his diplomatic experience providing valuable insight into alien psychology and decision-making processes. The intelligence he had gathered during the council session revealed important details about the command structure and communication protocols that the alien forces would likely employ during their invasion. As the days passed, the countdown to the alien ultimatum continued inexorably toward zero, but Earth was far from idle during this period. Hidden beneath the Sahara Desert, construction crews worked around the clock to complete the final installations of the planetary defense grid, a network of quantum field generators that could theoretically protect the entire planet from orbital bombardment. The Amazon rainforest concealed another crucial facility, where human scientists had successfully created stable artificial wormholes, technology that would allow Earth's defenders to deploy forces anywhere in the solar system instantaneously. The breakthrough had come from studying alien transportation methods and finding ways to improve upon their efficiency and range. Deep beneath the Antarctic ice sheets, the most secret facility of all housed the project that Dr. Chun hoped would prove decisive in the coming conflict. Human researchers had not only reverse-engineered alien energy weapons, but had developed entirely new principles of physics that allowed for the creation of weapons that could bypass conventional defensive systems entirely. The alien surveillance networks detected none of these preparations. Their sensors focused on monitoring the obvious military installations and space yards that humanity operated openly. The Galactic Council's intelligence agencies had become accustomed to dealing with civilizations that followed predictable development patterns, and they completely missed the signs that Earth was hiding far more advanced capabilities than anyone suspected. President Santos addressed the world through carefully scripted public announcements that maintained the appearance of normalcy while secretly implementing emergency protocols that had been prepared for exactly this type of scenario. The general population remained unaware of the alien threat, allowing normal life to continue. While the planet's defenders worked frantically to prepare for a battle that would determine humanity's survival. As the final week of the alien ultimatum approached, deep space monitoring stations detected the first movements of the assembled invasion fleet. Admiral Corvin's Armada was beginning its approach toward the solar system, confident in their overwhelming technological superiority and expecting to complete their mission with minimal resistance from the primitive humans who had dared to defy the will of the Galactic Council. The massive alien armada moved through the darkness of space like a tide of destruction, their ships arranged in perfect geometric formations that had conquered 1,000 worlds across the galaxy. Admiral Corvin stood on the bridge of his flagship, Dreadnought Dominance, watching the tactical displays as his fleet approached the outer edge of the human solar system. His 6 arms moved with practiced precision across the command interfaces, coordinating the movements of over 300 vessels from dozens of different alien civilizations. Ambassador Zethkar observed the proceedings from his position aboard the Vorthan flagship Sovereign Terror, his reptilian features reflecting satisfaction as he contemplated the swift resolution of what he considered humanity's foolish defiance. The diplomatic corps had placed bets on how quickly the primitive humans would surrender once they witnessed the overwhelming power arrayed against them, with most estimates ranging from immediate capitulation to perhaps a few hours of token resistance. The alien fleet's composition represented the combined military might of the Galactic Council's most powerful members. Hegemony battle cruisers bristled with energy weapons capable of cracking planetary crusts, while Vorthan destroyers carried shields that had never been penetrated by any known weapon system. The crystalline vessels of the Nexus Collective hummed with harmonic resonance cannons that could shatter molecular bonds at the quantum level, and the biomechanical ships of the Swarm Collective writhed with living weapons that adapted to any defensive measure they encountered. From his command center beneath the lunar surface, Admiral Kate Sullivan watched the approaching alien armada through sensor networks that had been monitoring their movements for weeks. The hidden Luna command station appeared to be nothing more than a small research outpost from the outside, but its true nature as humanity's primary military coordination center remained completely unknown to the aliens who had dismissed Earth's moon as strategically insignificant. Captain Jake Morrison took his position aboard the ESV Defiance, one of Earth's newest battle cruisers that incorporated all of the breakthrough technologies developed through decades of secret research. The ship's quantum displacement drive allowed for instantaneous movement across vast distances, while its temporal phase weapons existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously, making them capable of bypassing conventional defensive systems entirely. Dr. Lisa Grant worked frantically in her analysis center, coordinating intelligence teams that were tracking every ship in the alien fleet and building detailed tactical profiles of their capabilities and weaknesses. Her xenobiological expertise had proven invaluable in understanding how different alien species approached warfare, revealing patterns of behavior that could be exploited by human forces who understood the psychological factors that influenced alien military decisions. The first sign that something was different about this invasion came when Admiral Corvin attempted to establish communication with Earth's planetary government. Standard Galactic Council protocol required conquered species to be given one final opportunity to surrender before military action commenced. But the response he received was unlike anything in the records of previous campaigns against primitive civilizations. "This is Admiral Catherine Sullivan of the Earth Defense Force," came the calm professional voice across the subspace communication channels. "You have entered our sovereign space without authorization and in direct violation of interstellar law. You have exactly 60 seconds to reverse course and withdraw from this system, or your presence will be considered an act of war against humanity and treated accordingly." The bridge of the Dreadnought Dominance erupted in laughter as the alien officers processed what they had just heard. A primitive species that possessed no significant military technology was actually threatening a fleet that could destroy entire star systems. And their representative was speaking as if she commanded forces capable of backing up such an audacious ultimatum. Admiral Corvin's compound eyes focused on the tactical displays that showed the human fleet's positions scattered throughout the Solar system. His sensors detected only 47 vessels, most of them smaller than his smallest escort ships, arranged in what appeared to be a desperate attempt to protect their homeworld, through sheer determination rather than actual military capability. Deploy advanced squadrons to eliminate any resistance, Corvin ordered, his mechanical translator giving his words the cold precision of a being who had overseen the conquest of hundreds of worlds. I want this matter concluded within the hour, so we can return to more important duties. The first wave of alien attackers consisted of 30 hegemony destroyers, their sleek hulls gleaming with the energy signatures of charging weapon systems. These vessels had been specifically chosen for the mission because their commanders enjoyed the psychological impact of overwhelming primitive species through displays of superior firepower and technological advancement. Colonel Ryan Hayes monitored the approaching alien ships from his position aboard the command vessel, his enhanced sensor equipment providing detailed analysis of their weapon signatures, shield frequencies, and propulsion systems. The intelligence he had gathered during the Galactic Council meeting was proving invaluable in predicting how the aliens would deploy their forces and what tactical doctrines they would employ. The alien destroyers accelerated toward their targets, with confidence born of countless easy victories, their crews already composing reports about the brief engagement they expected to fight against the primitive humans. Their weapons locked onto the scattered Earth vessels, and firing solutions were calculated with the precision of advanced targeting computers that had never failed to find their marks. But as the alien ships closed to what they considered optimal firing range, something happened that defied every tactical algorithm in the Galactic Council's military databases. The human vessels simply vanished from their sensors, disappearing completely from detection systems that should have been capable of tracking any known form of spacecraft propulsion or stealth technology. For several crucial seconds, the alien commanders stared at their displays in confusion, assuming that some form of sensor malfunction had occurred. Their advanced technology was supposed to be capable of detecting any form of matter or energy within their operational range, yet the primitive human ships had somehow achieved complete invisibility to their scanning systems. The truth became apparent when the human vessels reappeared directly behind the alien formation, having used their quantum displacement drives to move through folded spacetime in ways that the aliens had never encountered before. Captain Morrison's Defiance led the coordinated counterattack, its weapon systems engaging targets with precision that seemed impossible for a species that the Galactic Council had classified as technologically primitive. The first alien destroyer to die never even detected the weapon that killed it. Earth's temporal phase torpedoes existed in a state of quantum uncertainty until the moment of impact, allowing them to pass through conventional shields as if they did not exist before solidifying inside the target vessel and detonating with devastating effect within minutes. The entire advanced squadron had been reduced to expanding clouds of debris and radiation, their sophisticated defensive systems proving useless against weapons that operated on principles of physics that their designers had never considered. The ease with which Earth's forces had eliminated 30 advanced warships sent shockwaves through the alien fleet, forcing Admiral Corvin to reassess his assumptions about human military capabilities. Dr. Grant's intelligence network immediately began analyzing the alien response to this first engagement, noting how their rigid command structure became confused when confronted with tactics that did not match any of their historical precedents. The aliens had grown complacent through centuries of easy victories against species that employed conventional weapons and predictable strategies. Admiral Sullivan coordinated the next phase of Earth's defensive plan from her hidden command center, deploying cloaked fighter squadrons that were no larger than shuttlecraft, but carried payloads capable of crippling much larger vessels. These fighters moved through the alien formations like ghosts, their advanced stealth systems making them virtually undetectable until they struck their targets. The psychological impact on the alien forces was perhaps even more significant than the physical damage being inflicted. Species that had never experienced defeat were suddenly confronted with the reality that their technological superiority was not absolute, and that the primitive humans they had dismissed were somehow managing to destroy their most advanced warships. With apparent ease, Ambassador Zethkar watched in growing alarm as the tactical displays showed more and more of his fleet's vessels disappearing from sensor networks, and their destruction so swift and complete that there was barely time to analyze what weapons had been used against them. The confident predictions about a quick victory were rapidly being replaced by urgent requests for reinforcements and tactical analysis. Admiral Corvin ordered his remaining forces to adopt defensive formations and begin full-spectrum scanning for the human vessels that seemed capable of appearing anywhere within the battlespace without warning. Admiral Corvin's compound eyes reflected the growing chaos on his tactical displays as more alien vessels vanished from his fleet's formation. The destruction of his advanced squadron had been shocking enough, but the continuing losses to an enemy that seemed capable of striking from anywhere at any time was beginning to shake his confidence in the inevitable victory he had expected. His 6 arms moved frantically across the command interfaces as he tried to coordinate a defense against weapons and tactics that defied everything the Galactic Council knew about primitive warfare. The hegemony battle stations moved into position at the center of the alien formation, their massive hulls bristling with enough firepower to sterilize entire planets. These enormous vessels had been the backbone of countless successful invasions, their shields and armor designed to withstand any conceivable attack from species that the Council had encountered over the millennia of galactic expansion. Ambassador Zethkar contacted the fleet command from his position aboard Sovereign Terror, his usually confident demeanor showing signs of strain as he watched human forces continue to evade detection while inflicting casualties that should have been impossible for such a technologically inferior opponent. The diplomatic corps had assured the military commanders that Earth's resistance would collapse within hours, but the reality of the battle was proving far different from their predictions. Captain Jake Morrison led his squadron of Earth battlecruisers in a coordinated assault against the alien heavy cruisers, their quantum displacement drives allowing them to appear at optimal firing positions without giving the enemy time to react. The ESV Defiance materialized directly above one of the Vorthan destroyers, its temporal phase weapons penetrating the alien shields as if they were made of nothing more substantial than colored light. The Vorthan vessel's destruction sent ripples of shock through the alien fleet as their most advanced defensive technology proved completely ineffective against human weapons. The energy shields that had protected Galactic Council forces for thousands of years were designed to deflect or absorb conventional energy weapons and kinetic projectiles, but Earth's temporal phase torpedoes existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously, allowing them to bypass physical barriers entirely. Dr. Lisa Grant coordinated her intelligence network from the secure facility beneath Earth's surface, analyzing the alien fleet's response patterns and identifying weaknesses in their command structure. Her teams had discovered that the various alien species communicated through different protocols and frequencies, creating gaps in their coordination that human forces could exploit through carefully timed attacks on their communication vessels. Admiral Kate Sullivan watched the battle unfold from her hidden command center, coordinating the deployment of Earth's most secret weapon systems. The Luna Command Station had been designed to appear as an insignificant research outpost, but its true nature as a massive weapons platform was about to be revealed to the alien invaders, who had dismissed Earth's moon as strategically unimportant. The crystalline vessels of the Nexus Collective attempted to adapt their harmonic weapons to counter the human ships, but their rigid tactical programming could not adjust quickly enough to deal with opponents who employed completely different principles of physics and warfare. The alien ships had been designed to fight enemies who followed predictable patterns of behavior, not creative opponents who seemed capable of rewriting the rules of combat. Colonel Ryan Hayes deployed the hidden fighter squadrons that had been concealed throughout the solar system, their advanced stealth technology making them invisible to alien sensors until the moment they struck their targets. These small craft carried payloads that were disproportionately powerful compared to their size. Another example of humanity's approach to warfare that emphasized efficiency and Innovation over raw firepower, the alien fleet's casualties continued to mount as human forces struck with surgical precision at critical command and communication nodes, disrupting the coordinated tactics that had made the Galactic Council's military forces so effective in previous campaigns. The rigid hierarchy that had served the aliens well against conventional opponents became a liability when facing enemies who understood how to exploit centralized command structures. Admiral Corvin ordered his remaining forces to converge on Earth itself, hoping that the primitive humans would be forced to reveal their positions when defending their homeworld. The alien fleet's sensors showed no significant defensive installations around the blue planet, leading the Admiral to believe that humanity had deployed all of their forces in deep space where they could be hunted down and destroyed. The Swarm Collective's biomechanical vessels attempted to adapt to human weapons through their living technology. But the temporal phase torpedoes operated on principles that even their advanced biological systems could not counter. The alien ships that had been designed to evolve and adapt to any threat found themselves facing weapons that existed outside the normal framework of cause and effect. Dr. Alex Chun activated the planetary defense systems that had been hidden beneath Earth's surface for decades, revealing the true extent of humanity's secret preparations. The quantum field generators that had been disguised as geological research stations suddenly came online, creating an energy barrier around the planet that was unlike anything the Galactic Council had encountered before. The alien bombardment fleet opened fire on Earth with enough energy to crack continents, their planet-killer weapons fully charged and ready to demonstrate the price of defying the Council's authority. But instead of destroying the human homeworld, their weapons simply vanished upon contact with the planetary shields. Their destructive energy absorbed and redirected through dimensional channels that the aliens could not detect or understand. Captain Morrison led the final assault against Admiral Corvin's flagship, the massive dreadnought Dominance that served as the command center for the entire invasion fleet. The human battlecruiser Defiance appeared directly alongside the alien vessel, its weapon systems engaging at point-blank range in a confrontation that would determine the outcome of the entire battle. The alien flagship's defensive systems activated automatically, creating multiple layers of energy, shields, and deploying countermeasures that had never failed to protect hegemony command vessels. But Earth's weapons operated according to principles that the alien designers had never considered, and the temporal phase torpedoes passed through every defensive barrier as if it did not exist. Admiral Corvin watched in disbelief as his most powerful weapons failed to penetrate even the smallest human vessels. Their defensive technology, somehow capable of deflecting or absorbing attacks that should have vaporized anything smaller than a battleship. His tactical computers provided no explanations for what he was witnessing, their databases containing no records of any species possessing such advanced capabilities. Commander Beth Rogers coordinated the technical aspects of the assault from her position aboard the Mars orbital platform, her engineering expertise allowing her to identify critical weaknesses in the alien ship's power distribution systems. The quantum resonance scanners that humanity had developed revealed structural vulnerabilities that could be exploited by precisely targeted attacks. The Galactic Council's invasion fleet found itself trapped in a battle unlike anything in their collective military experience, facing opponents who seemed to possess unlimited tactical advantages despite being classified as a primitive species. The psychological impact of their mounting losses was perhaps even more devastating than the physical damage, as alien crews who had never known defeat struggled to comprehend their situation. Ambassador Zethkar attempted to contact Chancellor Vexthal to request additional reinforcements, but the subspace communication networks were being systematically disrupted by human electronic warfare systems that the aliens had not even detected until it was too late. The invasion that was supposed to have been completed within hours was turning into a prolonged engagement against opponents who seemed capable of anticipating and countering every tactical move. Dr. Grant's analysis revealed that the alien fleet's command structure was beginning to break down as individual species reverted to their own tactical doctrines instead of maintaining the coordinated approach that had initially made them so formidable. The humans had successfully exploited the cultural and technological differences between the various alien civilizations, turning their diversity from a strength into a weakness. The battle reached its climax as Earth's hidden weapons platforms revealed their true capabilities, demonstrating that humanity had not only matched the Galactic Council's technology but had surpassed it through entirely different approaches to physics and engineering. The planet that the aliens had expected to conquer within hours was proving to be far more dangerous than any opponent they had ever faced. The final moments of the battle arrived as Admiral Corvin made his last desperate attempt to salvage victory from what had become an unmitigated disaster for the Galactic Council's forces. His flagship Dreadnought Dominance led the surviving alien vessels in a direct assault on Earth, their planet-cracking weapons charged to maximum power in preparation for the bombardment that would end humanity's defiance once and for all. Captain Jake Morrison positioned the ESV Defiance between the alien flagship and Earth. His crew prepared for the close-range engagement that would determine not just the outcome of this battle but the future of humanity's place in the galaxy. The human battlecruiser was dwarfed by the massive alien vessel, but its advanced technology and innovative design made it far more dangerous than its size suggested. Dr. Alex Chun activated the final phase of Earth's planetary defense network from his control center deep beneath the surface, revealing capabilities that exceeded even what the aliens had witnessed during the earlier stages of the battle. The quantum field generators that protected the planet suddenly expanded their coverage, creating a defensive barrier that encompassed not just Earth but the entire inner solar system. Admiral Kate Sullivan coordinated the synchronized strike that would end the alien threat permanently, bringing together all of humanity's hidden weapon systems in a coordinated assault that demonstrated the true extent of their technological advancement. The Luna Command Station revealed its nature as a massive weapons platform, its gravitational cannons targeting the largest alien vessels with precision that defied conventional understanding of physics. The gravitational weapons operated by manipulating the fundamental forces that held matter together, creating localized distortions in spacetime that compressed their targets into impossibly dense spheres of neutronium. Each successful hit eliminated not just the target vessel but any ships unfortunate enough to be caught in the expanding gravitational field, turning the aliens' tight formations from an advantage into a catastrophic weakness. Ambassador Zethkar watched in horror from the bridge of sovereign terror as the hegemony battle stations were systematically destroyed by weapons that seemed to violate every known law of physics. The massive vessels that had been the backbone of countless successful invasions crumpled like paper under forces that compressed their hulls beyond the limits of any known material to withstand. The biomechanical ships of the Swarm Collective attempted to adapt to the gravitational weapons through their living technology, but even their advanced biological systems could not survive the fundamental alteration of spacetime that occurred around the impact points. The vessels that had been designed to evolve and overcome any threat found themselves facing forces that operated on scales beyond their capacity to understand or counter. Colonel Ryan Hayes led the final assault against the remaining communication vessels, eliminating the last coordination links between the various alien species and reducing their fleet to isolated groups of ships that could no longer fight as a unified force. The human fighters moved through the alien formation like ghosts, their stealth technology making them invisible until the moment they struck their targets with devastating precision. Dr. Lisa Grant's intelligence network provided real-time analysis of the alien fleet's collapse, tracking the psychological impact of their mounting losses on crews who had never experienced defeat in battle. The various alien species began reverting to their individual survival instincts, abandoning their coordinated tactics in favor of desperate attempts to escape the slaughter that their invasion had become. The crystalline vessels of the Nexus Collective tried to retreat through their dimensional fold drives, but Earth's quantum interference systems prevented them from achieving the stable spacetime distortions necessary for faster-than-light travel. The alien ships found themselves trapped in normal space where human weapons could target them with ease, their most advanced escape, technology rendered useless by humanity's superior understanding of dimensional physics, Admiral Corvin made his final stand aboard the dreadnought Dominance as Captain Morrison's Defiance closed for the decisive engagement. The alien flagship deployed every weapon system and defensive measure at its disposal, creating a spectacular display of energy discharges that lit up the space around Earth like a miniature star. But human technology had progressed beyond the aliens' ability to counter, and their most powerful attacks simply vanished into the dimensional shields that protected the human vessel. The end came swiftly as Earth's temporal phase. Weapons penetrated the flagship's hull and detonated simultaneously. Throughout its massive structure, Admiral Corvin had just enough time to realize that his species' dominance of the galaxy was ending before the explosions tore his ship apart, sending debris cascading through space in a glowing cloud that marked the destruction of the Galactic Council's most powerful warship. Commander Beth Rogers coordinated the final cleanup operations as the surviving alien vessels attempted to surrender or escape the battle zone. The human forces showed no mercy to ships that had come to destroy their civilization, systematically hunting down and eliminating every last invader until the space around Earth was filled with nothing but expanding clouds of debris and radiation. The silence that followed the battle's conclusion was profound, broken only by the communications from Earth's colonies and outposts confirming that no alien forces had survived the engagement. Humanity had not only defended their homeworld, but had completely annihilated a fleet that represented the combined military might of dozens of galactic civilizations. News of the battle's outcome reached the Galactic Council chambers on Zarian Prime within hours, carried by automated distress beacons that had been launched from the dying alien ships. Chancellor Vexthal stared at the tactical displays in stunned silence as the reports confirmed that the entire invasion fleet had been destroyed without causing any significant damage to human forces or installations. The assembled delegates, who had laughed at humanity's defiance just weeks earlier, now sat in terrified silence as they contemplated the implications of what they had just witnessed. A species they had classified as primitive had not only defeated their most powerful military force, but had done so with apparent ease, using technology that exceeded their own capabilities by orders of magnitude. Dr. Grant led the human delegation back to the council chambers, but this time they entered through the main hall reserved for major galactic powers rather than the section designated for primitive species. The mockery and dismissive laughter had been replaced by fearful respect and barely concealed terror as the aliens realized that they were now dealing with beings whose capabilities they could not comprehend. Captain Morrison addressed the stunned assembly with the same calm dignity he had shown during their first visit, but his words now carried the weight of demonstrated power that made even the most arrogant council members listen carefully to every syllable. Humanity's terms were simple and non-negotiable: recognition as a sovereign galactic power, establishment of fair trade agreements, and a formal apology for the unprovoked attack on human territory. The Galactic Council agreed to every demand, without debate or negotiation, their representatives eager to avoid any actions that might provoke further demonstrations of humanity's military capabilities. The species that had once ruled the galaxy through superior technology and overwhelming force now found themselves supplicants to the very beings they had dismissed as insignificant primitives. President Maria Santos received the news of humanity's victory while standing in the Oval Office, surrounded by the world leaders who had coordinated Earth's defense against seemingly impossible odds. The planet that had faced extinction just hours earlier was now recognized as one of the galaxy's major powers, its people free to explore and colonize the stars, without interference from alien overlords. Admiral Sullivan reflected on the battle's outcome from her command center beneath Luna's surface, considering how humanity's greatest advantage had never been their technology, but their refusal to accept that any problem was unsolvable. While other species had grown complacent in their superiority, humans had continued to innovate and adapt, developing solutions that more advanced civilizations had never considered possible. The final scene played out on the observation deck. of humanity's newest space station, where Captain Morrison and Dr. Grant watched Earth turning slowly in the void. The blue planet that had once been dismissed as insignificant now stood as proof that in the galaxy's vast expanse, it was not the size of your fleet or the age of your civilization that mattered, but the determination and creativity of those who refused to surrender their dreams to those who underestimated them.